Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson. Thank you so much for joining. Coming to you once again from Hawaiian beaches on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Hooray! Well, I don't have any questions from Wisdom Dialogues online people to start with, but all kinds of questions always come. It's just natural. Something is Something within the mind is always seeking for what's already real, what's already true. That's why the different questions arise, where the different questions come from, to clear out the delusion, to shine a light on the delusion. And the answers to everything, the answers to all questions come from within, even if it seems as if someone outside of yourself is answering that question for you, whether you ask them specifically or you could even happen to overhear it in a conversation. Or, it could just occur to you without any kind of manifestation at all. But it's a matter of being willing and open to hear what love's message is. It's a special kind of listening where it's paying attention with your energy body, more like with your energy body than with concepts evaluating everything. See? Because everything that comes up, everything that comes to you is coming in the form of energy first. And then it's projected outward as if there's something outside of yourself. Take, for instance, the feeling of frustration. It looks like and seems like that thing outside of yourself is the cause for frustration, but that's not really the case. It's only frustration with yourself. You have to first see it within yourself before you can project it outward. And so you have to perceive it in the mind before you can project it outside of the mind, where you can see it as a manifestation of the reason for the frustration. Just remember, a feeling has no reason on the surface. Feeling has no reason for manifesting as if it has to do with something else that's manifesting. The feeling is what projects a thing. Let's say the thing is a broken dishwasher, for instance. So the feeling projects from the feeling, it's projected outward, the broken dishwasher. Already the feeling is what you brought to the situation. It's just what can present that to you. What can present that to you? And so that's why it becomes an opportunity to see through it. It becomes an opportunity to recognize that all there is to go into that feeling, whatever it is, the seemingly little things like a broken dishwasher to a big thing. Maybe you found out a friend got into an accident and they're in critical condition, something like that. Who knows? Found out you got cancer. There's no real difference between these things until the mind goes in and makes meaning of them. Okay. It's funny because something will be thrown out there as if that's the cause, but really the cause is also the cause of the feeling, both of them, the cause of the feeling and the manifestation. They're really one thing projected outward. So it's like the feeling in the body's energy field, that's made of thought. The feeling of frustration or any other kind of upset, it's already made of thought. And what the ego, under the guidance of ego, would ask you to do is to add more thought, like that's going to help it. So all questions arise from that seeking. See? That's what they're all coming from. They're arising from that seeking, even if it seems like it's a question in the world. Because every interaction in the world, every interaction is set up exactly perfect for you. It's set up exactly perfect for what it is that you can learn from. You can make that discovery that what you believed was true is no longer true. And that's a huge sense of relief. You know, it's not even so much that it's no longer true. It never was true, but you're not going to add feeling to it anymore. You're not going to support it anymore. Because you see that it doesn't serve you, and you see that it doesn't serve you, then it's easy to make that choice. And there's only the awareness, the witnessing awareness. There isn't anything else. There isn't someone who does things. There isn't anyone who does things. Not only is no one else doing anything, but you as yourself, you're not doing anything. And all the time, you can, if you look at the thoughts, you'll see that all day long, these ideas are being offered so that they can be reinforced by you if you choose. Ideas that you, in fact, do things and choose what you do. Okay? That's where the guilt comes into play. Because as long as you are identified as someone who does things, as long as you're identified as someone who does things in the world, then you're always going to set yourself up for seeing that you're going to make mistakes. And so is everyone else. And that's the point. That's actually the point of it. That's the point of identifying as a doer. So you can see that you, as a doer, are not good enough. See? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. And, you know, all that. And it's like, nothing's happening though. You know, we're playing into a game like something is happening, like people are actually doing things. I had one friend over the weekend. I said, you know, I hear you say you're sorry kind of often to me, and I just want to let you know that you're not going to be getting it wrong. There's not, you know, I don't think you're behind. I don't think you're doing it wrong. None of that stuff. That's not going to go on. And there seems to be this thing where it's in certain careers, it seems like it's your job to please people, which, okay, it's your job to please people, and that may be on the surface of things, but you know that it doesn't quite work that way. Because, you know, the strive to please people is already denying the spirit. It's already denying the spirit, which makes it possible to even think that thought about pleasing people. Here's the other thing that's really interesting about that is that there are no people. So the people that seem to need pleasing are projected into the field. They're just projected into the field of awareness. See? So it's as if I need this job. That's why I need to please people. And you know, a lot of the times this is heard through a sense of separation, beliefs in separation, and it's not really grokked what I'm saying. You know, I'm not saying you can't work in a job where, you know, like maybe you're in a restaurant, maybe you're a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, and you know, the thing is, you are not responsible for whether or not a person is pleased. And the more you get that you're not responsible for whether or not a person is pleased, even if you happen to be in a people-pleasing kind of career, the more people are going to appear to be pleased in the first place, and the less thought energy you're going to put toward trying to manipulate a perception for yourself. Because the perception that you're trying to get for yourself is that they're pleased, and they're pleased with you. See? And you know, that's how the ego tempts you into wanting things of this world instead of wanting what, you know, you're keeping hidden from yourself. Wanting that which, let's say, that which you're keeping hidden from yourself. And if you don't want to know the truth more than perpetuating the illusion that you're separate, then you're going to keep on seeing and perceiving as if you are separate. Okay. And it's not gonna seem like every single person who approaches you is approaching you with a gift, no matter what that happens to be. Because every gift of relating triggers some kind of feeling sensation, and that's for you. If you're not running from it, you're getting the full effect of that, and that feeling sensation is a reflection of a belief. So when you're getting the full effect of the feeling sensation, the belief underlying it is getting seen and dissolves. You don't have to analyze anything. You don't have to go in there and try to decipher what it is. Through feeling, these things get dissolved in consciousness because they need support. They need a certain kind of support. And that's where you add thoughts to a feeling projection. Can you give us an example in life? Well, you know, you can go back to the broken dishwasher, just not to add too many stories. You go back to the broken dishwasher and the sense of frustration that you might bring to it, you know. You sense the frustration instead of adding to it. See, there's this sense like, I got to get through this. I got to get over this. I got to get the dishwasher fixed so I don't feel this frustration anymore. But that's what feeds it. Whereas if you're willing to get that effect of the frustration, notwithstanding what you perceive about the dishwasher, if you're willing to get the sense of frustration, then the habit pattern of frustration gets worked out, because if you look within, there was already frustration with yourself. Okay, there's already the frustration with yourself is what you brought to the dishwasher scenario. Okay, so if you add thought to it, as in you project it, you uphold that as if the feeling is justified by the broken dishwasher, adding thought to it, it's like running away in thought. It's like trying to feel better by, okay, fix the dishwasher as soon as possible and start pursuing all that stuff. Or maybe the idea that someone messed it up or something went wrong because the dishwasher broke. What did I do and stuff? It's more of a going inward instead of into the thought processes. Even the inward is still in the mind, because the inward that it is a feeling sensation of the body sense. It's a get the feeling sensation of the body sense, because everything that you perceive on the surface, everything you perceive in the world is a projection of that body sense. So when you can get the feeling of the body sense, things can arise in the world, but they're not tearing you back. They're not kind of like beating you up. It's like, that's all I needed was some more bad news, because it's all a feeling sensation, and the way that you're relating with it, the way that you as consciousness are relating with basically thoughts and feelings, say that, and their manifestations. So it's like as if that's outside of yourself, or as if the thoughts that come, it seem like they're inside while everything else is outside. It seems like those thoughts are private. They're not private. They come out in some form. It might come out of your mouth. It might come out of someone else's mouth. You might just see it play out in some sort of manifestation without any kind of words. But, it's not like there's this internal world and this external world. The external is the internal projected outside of the mind, so that you can see it, so that you can sense it. And I say projected outside of the mind because so the projection is of a split. And there's no way there's a split in the mind. The thought projections make an illusion of a split. There's not really a split in the mind. No one actually left eternity. Yay! Considering the Facebook break is all inside of you. Very nice. Yep. It takes away this doership thing as if you did it. See? Like, good job. But no one's doing anything. But good job anyways. It's fine. No problem. These things are believed, though, automatically, and especially by children, that if, that you can do something. And that you can do things to other people to harm them. That's another thing. they can do something to harm you. Better be careful. Better be careful. I hear drive carefully. Seems like you have to drive carefully when when you buy into the belief that you are actually driving. But what's careful? What's careful and makes it so that you can be careless is just allowing the spirit in you to decide what everything means. It's not possible to drive carefully. Okay, I'll take it. Heard of people being overly careful. Ugh, ugh. You get all stiff. You can say when I play the harp, especially when I'm learning something new, on the surface, everything looks very careful. Everything looks very careful and calculated. I think so, to me. I don't know if it does to my harp teacher. But she had me recording myself playing the harp so I could see what it looks like as I'm doing this certain kind of rhythm. Yeah. And the thing again, it's not about what's arising on the surface. It's not about the manifest. It's not about the material thing. It's not about the material. It's just allowing whatever occurs to occur. If carefulness seems to occur on the surface, there's also an inner carefulness to recognize that nothing is happening. There's nothing for me to do. These events are just taking place instead of to try to identify with it like, oh, I got to get better at this. Oh, darn it, I'm get this. Screw practicing harp. It's too hard. Okay, nice, Lori. If it were possible to drive carefully, you'd be in control. Nope, nope. Very nice. I love it. You'd say driving happy. Driving happy is one way of letting in the light, you could say, and that's very careful. In a different kind of way, though. Driving with gratitude. Yeah, driving with gratitude. Even if some kind of upset feeling is arising at the time, seeing if there's some gratitude there. It's always helpful. So there's this saying, what you are seeking is also seeking you. Okay? And there's not two. There's not really two. Like what finds itself seeking has asked for illusions to be made for itself. Okay? You could say it's a thought that asks to be separate and keeps asking for more illusions of separation, which are given by that which it's seeking, so it could be seen through, right? That's right. So the gift of manifestation, the gift of the material world, is given without any reservation by the source to that part of the same source that wants to believe itself to be separate. The source gives that part that wants to believe in separation everything it wants. Everything it wants. That's the whole universe. Only the source does not see that part of itself as separate. The source doesn't have the perception of that part of itself going through any struggles. The source is just, source energy just gives gifts. Let's say source awareness provides gifts. And the gifts that are given are divine gifts. They're just made out to be something else. They're made into something else. And the gifts come in all different forms. They come from, people, dogs, animals, whatever. Any kind of upset feeling comes up, that's a gift in disguise. Upset feeling, projection. You see there's a projection for a person, place, or thing. Somehow it has to do with nouns. I don't know. Maybe situations too. If it didn't happen like that. But usually there's blame involved like that. Like someone did it wrong. Or it could just be the weather. Who knows? With no other people running around the surface doing things against your will, there's not a lot to gossip about, right? And you see stuff to gossip about. Gossip is kind of like telling a story that disparages someone. It's meant to disparage someone. Show their weakness. And the thing is, there's no one there. It just reinforces the idea that you have a weakness, which you don't. So aren't you happy about that? You have no weaknesses. The weaknesses you perceive, you made up, you wanted them to be there. And look at this. If you perceive some people around you gossiping, that's coming from your mind. So what the ego will ask, what the ego will try to guide you to do is to analyze them. See what's wrong with them. Why do they think it's a good idea to talk about other people? Why do they think it's a good idea to be gossiping? Forget about them. Because that's where it gets a little sneaky and tricky and fun too. Once you see it, it gets really fun. To get you distracted thinking about other people and what's wrong with them. And you know what's awesome when that occurs? That's why there's nothing wrong with this. It's just the seeing, that's all. when you're analyzing and talking about what's wrong with those people, you're really talking about yourself. It's an inner, hidden, secret idea about yourself coming out as if it's about this person or this thing. Okay? So it's if you get taken by that as if that's meaningful, let's say that's meaningful, as if it's meaningful to try to find out why they would be talking about other people like that. If you take that as if it's meaningful, you blind yourself so you can't see, which is not a good or bad thing. Because every time you blind yourself so that you do not see, that is a choice made in consciousness, and it's because you would like to get that lesson better. Okay? What's going to occur from that is the feeling is going to intensify until you can't keep ignoring it. You have to look into it. That's what that blinding yourself does. You know, it's setting yourself up for an upset feeling. It is. And that's not a good or bad thing. That's just the trajectory of it. And if you see the trajectory of it, it's really fun. And anyone who would like to see the trajectory of it just has to be willing. Okay? Let's go to the willingness, because that's the biggie. You just have to be willing to recognize what? That you made it all up. Okay? Because if you're not willing to recognize that you made it all up, you cannot see to the root of it. Okay? I didn't say you have to recognize you made it all up. Just be willing. When you're willing, the pointers come accordingly. See? But you know, since you have free will, you can totally shut it down and say, hell no, I'm not doing that. Or even the idea of, well, that's just the way I am. I don't think I'm going to be changing in this lifetime. The funny thing is, there's not really a lifetime. I mean, every moment is a unique representation of all times, past, present, future. So that unique presentation is always changing, and it's changing across all times. There's not really like a lifetime that you can point to. If you have pictures, it might make it a little bit easier. But there's this imaginary separate body that was born in a world. Not really alive. Not really alive. It's like a picture. The aliveness is you. The life is you. And that life is eternal. It doesn't have a lifetime. It doesn't have an age. It's not born. It's everlasting. And when it seems like these bodies are life, then there gets to be concern about bodies. Making sure it gets all the health it needs. Making sure it gets this and that, which, you know, that occurs, but it occurs through consciousness. You don't have to take any care for it. Whatever you're motivated to do, it's going to be done. Whatever you're motivated to do, it's going to be done. Whatever you're motivated to do, it's motivated by thoughts. It'll still work. Whatever you're motivated to do is motivated through the body sense. It'll still work. The body sense still works. Without you taking care and responsibility for it. It's totally not cared for like that. It's a total illusion. It's not how it works. What do you think of reincarnation? Well, there's not really different times. That's the thing. Is it a thing? Well, there's not really different times. Okay. It's not like reincarnation. It's not really going in a linear kind of fashion like that, but it's a thought. You could say it's a thought in the dream world evolving. Self-belief evolving in order to dissolve the belief and be recognize yourself as one and complete with the whole. I don't know what reincarnation like it really means, but maybe, you know, if it's like reincarnation, you could say like when you find yourself going to sleep at night and consciousness, where does it go? And then all of a sudden you wake up, maybe it's the morning, I don't know, maybe it's the middle of the night, but all of a sudden there's consciousness again. Isn't that a sort of reincarnation? Or say fainting with having the perception of fainting. Yeah, that seems like reincarnation. Consciousness isn't present, and then it's back again. Same kind of thing. I would say that it's the same kind of thing with the body perishing. Consciousness just isn't feeding, you can say feeding on that body energy anymore. But it's going to feed on something. So then another body needs to be formed. Consciousness needs that energy body for fuel, so to speak. No energy body, no projection. So the thought, the self-belief that made up the image, that goes on past the body. That self-belief goes on beyond the body. Not to eternity. Does not manifest, unmanifest self-belief until the self-belief manifests again. When a body goes dormant, it's like it's the same kind of thing. Self-belief manifests as an expression again, manifests itself again. But, you know, not to stretch all the beliefs out, talking about in reincarnation and stuff like that. I mean, that kind of stuff, it's interesting. Doesn't really matter. Yes, my love.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because there's no proof. I mean, who knows? It's all speculation.
Well, it's obvious in a sense where you go, okay, thoughts manifest. When a body appears to die, it's never really born. It appears to be born and appears to die. When a body appears to die, that thought structure that made the body is still present.
So when you were saying, I raised my hand because you were saying self-belief.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's belief in a separate self. So the belief in a separate self, that hasn't, met its end yet, just because the body ended. So
Serious?
that belief in a separate self goes forward.
Even if it's seen through?
No, no, not once it's dissolved.
Oh.
Not
And
once it's dissolved.
so do you think, okay, the dissolving, is there anybody that's had it dissolve?
Well, the one that I know of, where at least the story goes that way, is the story of Jesus.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, that's where at least, the story does go that way. But you can see by the way everything transpires along the way. You can see how that what he would say is believe in him. Believe that this is possible for you.
Mm.
You could see how having faith and having that belief leads to these new openings and expansions, and seeing that there's nothing outside of you and feeling safe in that seeing.
Yeah, because it's so off the beaten path that doesn't feel safe a lot of times.
Yes, and that's the whole thing. It's, this feeling of unsafe in the world, like it's threatening, like something is threatening, maybe a person or whatever.
Mm.
But that's kind of like the hole that's been dug, the hole in thought that's been dug, because it's as if there are really these bad people in the world.
Right. Yeah. Which
Uh,
is,
which isn't possible.
yeah.
Let's make that clear that that is not possible.
Yeah.
But the world is for, it's like a stage, like someone famous said, maybe it was Shakespeare or something. And it's like a stage where all of these mind fantasies are projected, and each person is a representation of a thought, belief in a separate self. Been calling it self belief. So making the self important.
Mm.
And that self belief, it doesn't get killed by killing the body. Just like, you can give murderers the death sentence,
Mm.
but that self belief that led to that kind of manifestation in the first place does not get killed.
Mm.
It goes on until it's dissolved. See?
Mm.
It's just thought. What we're perceiving is thought. What we're perceiving of ourselves is thought made manifest.
Right.
And the perceiver and the perceived are the same thing, and it's occurring like a play within the field of awareness. There's nothing else outside of that.
Mm.
The
Nothing.
best is no reincarnation.
Right. Right. Just like no heaven or hell.
Yes, just like the idea that the idea comes up, maybe in my next lifetime I'll be this. Don't
Right.
give that thing play. You know, it's like, it's so easy to underestimate the power of the mind. So when you're just automatically believing that you're gonna have that or whatever, it's like, um, it's it's like the it's like a vice. It's like so limiting, and not open for the mystery to unfold. You know, that's the other thing. This manifestation that we perceive, this perception, is a mystery unfolding. But you know, don't let it be mysterious as to what its purpose is. You know, if it's mysterious to you as to what its purpose is, then you're going to mistake it for something that it's not.
Well, the purpose is just to see through the illusion of separation.
Yes, it's all the illusion of separation presents it like that.
Mhm.
It's like if it presents the illusion presents it as if it's real, and it's up for you to deny its reality. Now look, you have approved this making it a reality, you know, over many and many thought processes, let's say. So it's come into a seemingly solid reality because it was made that way. So each opportunity, each one of these opportunities is to make it a little bit less dense through your awareness as it passes through your body's energy field. There's nothing there's no thing, there's no situation, nothing that you fear or anything like that that you can't totally handle and can't be awesome for you, because everything that comes as a feeling. And it's only this idea of needing to run away from the feeling which makes things into a problem. Otherwise, it's like, oh, thank you. Oh, there's a broken dishwasher. Oh, okay, thank you.
Hmm.
You know?
Since last week, I've been saying, seems like, let me feel into that. There's like a, yeah, instead of, I just need to feel into it instead of handling it through the head, through the thoughts.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, there you go. And notice the I just need to feel into it is also a thought. And the feeling into it is going to happen without your doing.
Ah,
It's a willingness, not a doing. It's a willingness.
yes, there's a total willingness to feel it. Yes.
Yeah, so if there's something keeping you from realizing it, you're going to be able to see that too. See? If something that's keeping you from realizing who you are in the moment, you're going to be able to see that too. You're going to be able to see what that kind of belief is being held up against you.
Hmm.
And you know, you'll start to see how these little things add up, seemingly little things that tie you in as a doer. You know, like fear of being late,
Mhm.
or even I need to floss my teeth more often. You know, little things like that that seem so trivial. Anytime there's an I need to or I should recognize that that is just identifying you as an individual. There's nothing you have to do about it. There's nothing you have to do about it, but just recognize that what that is. None of these, none of these thoughts are just, let's say, none of these thoughts are without an effect. How about that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, none of them are without an effect. So don't let them just slip by you. See, that's like the kind of like sleepiness. It's like letting these thoughts slip by you. You know, watch the tone of the thoughts. Just like you hear a tone in your voice,
Um,
there's a tone in your thoughts. You know, and it's like some of these tones are a victimized tone, or a tone as if something is wrong or something could go wrong or something did go wrong.
Okay. Well, I have an example. Uh,
Okay?
this past week, um, my girlfriend's husband, who is this is what he says.
Okay.
35-year professional crane operator.
Okay.
And he did something, forgot to put the boom down, and this is the second time.
Okay.
He just about electrocuted himself and a coworker in
Okay.
the truck, and they couldn't get out for 3 hours. It was a big ordeal. He thought he was going to lose his job, and the electricity came down through it melted the pavement under the tires of it was pretty serious in the dream.
Yeah.
And so I go to a party on Sunday, and I happen to speak to somebody I haven't seen in a long time who happens to be friends with this man that did this. That not that he did it. I see clearly that that's what happened, but he is devastated. His
Sure.
ego, his whole being is just heavy. Oh, it's awful. He's suffering big time. So I said to this guy at the party that I was at, said, because we have the man who did the deed, whatever, in common. And I hadn't seen this guy for a long time. So I said, I explained to him what happened. And he said, oh, that must be why he didn't answer my email or whatever. And he said, which truck was it, the crane or the boom truck? And I was like, I don't know. So I texted him and I said, was it the crane or the boom truck? Oh, because I had said to this guy at the party, I said, you that this happened. He goes, again? So I,
Okay.
so I sent this text saying I was here with Ken, and Ken said that it was, I said again, but I didn't put an LOL in there. I just left it at that. And then I said, and oh, he is pissed off at me. He goes, I don't need a secretary, and you need to keep your mouth shut, and blah, blah. And that text came through, and I sat there because I was at this party. There was like 8 other, I don't know how many other people were there. And I felt it. I literally felt heat in my body. And I typed back, I'm sorry, and left it at that. And after it was felt, it was let go. There was no more, it didn't continue. Like if I could see the thoughts trying to come back saying, but it didn't trigger any more bodily upset or heat, like I did something wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So you're getting to see how easy it is, how easeful it could be.
Because
Like there's nothing that could make you go off into a tailspin if you choose the truth.
exactly, I felt it. There was a knowing that I did nothing wrong.
Well,
But
you didn't do anything.
well, exactly, but neither did
That's
he.
the thing.
Neither
Yeah.
did right.
So
So
you recognize that you're projecting him to be pissed at you.
right. So all of that was seen as the projection.
Yep.
So as it was felt is the recognition of what really happened is what made it disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, it disappears. Exactly. It takes you carrying it on.
Right, more because those thoughts that kept coming in to different random times was not entertained at all. That
Mhm.
heaviness that he's going through, or what if he's, yeah, none of that. It
Yeah.
wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
God.
as soon as you have the and you can hear it in the intonation in your voice where it's like, oh, it's just awful that he's going through,
Yeah, but
the
he's
brush.
not.
Yeah, as soon as you believe in that thought,
Yeah.
it's projecting some kind of a manifestation that triggers that same kind of feeling inside of you. Because it's like you're matching an imagined awful feeling right there and taking it as if it's true.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
And what's really fun about that is when you recognize that you are only trying to match and imagine feeling that the other person must have, it doesn't go anywhere. It can't have any effects, because like any effect that the feeling can have is only imaginary. So as soon as it's recognized that the cause of it, the thought that makes it up, isn't even true, then it has no effects.
Wow.
Well, can it be true for the other individual that's going through what they're going through after the incident?
Well, they're not really going through it. It's projected from here that they're going through it.
Yeah. All going through it is projected, and they may have the perception that they're going through it without you perceiving them.
Right. I get that.
They may have it comes back down to that nothing's happening. Nothing is happening. It's just it's them entertaining a projection of their own. When you perceive that they're going through it, that's for your perception.
Mind, right.
So it just seems like it's a perpetual projection, because then there's somebody who has, I know there's no doer, but someone has done something or shouldn't have done something, and then there's somebody else saying, okay, you're going to be reprimanded for doing this. So there's this perpetual perceptions going on.
Yes. Yeah, through relating, because we agree to uphold it or not. We get out of it, we stop upholding it, and we kind of get out of that dance at some point. Yeah, it's through Notice how it's through relating where all this stuff is coming up. Look at that.
Right.
See, all that guilt's going all over the place. And it's like, maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't when you matched his feeling awful, and then that awful feeling is shown back to you by, whatever he's saying to you.
Right.
It's like it's trying to be projected back to you, because it's like you projected it, and then once it projects back to you, at either place, it could be healed in you while you're projecting it, while you find yourself projecting it, if that occurs, or when the projection boomerangs back around.
And it could boomerang back in different forms, like what Lori said. Like the gentleman's like, well, you need to shut up and mind your own business. Or it could be that the other individual is very sad, or they're expressing sadness through crying, or maybe even anger. So,
yeah, when you take care of your own feeling too, then it's easier to relate with compassion, because you've allowed compassion for yourself. Basically, the compassion that you allowed for yourself automatically gets shared with those who you're relating with.
So what would be the best way to relate to the individual? Because some people could find you as being cold, like, if they explain what happened and you just sort of like, okay, like Lori said, oh, well, that's, even if she said that.
Well, don't try to manipulate other people because you want whatever reaction you perceive. Whatever reaction you perceive of them, that's what you want. So you don't have to try to manipulate other people to try to get a different reaction. That's just work. There's no need to work like that. All there is being aware of the reaction. If you're trying to get the right reaction, or not be seen a certain way, if you're afraid of being seen as cold, then that's the kind of energy you're putting out there. It's like a projection, it's like a projection that being seen, the way you're seen matters to you, period.
Well, I sent him a beautiful thing about knowing that I'm not malicious and I'm sorry. He knows that I didn't. This was totally innocent. It's actually beautiful how it happened. I can't even believe how this all manifested. It's so weird. And then his wife said to me today that he's not mad at me. He knows that I'm not malicious or whatever. I didn't do it on purpose or whatever. But he doesn't think I understand what he's going through. I'm
Right.
not compassionate towards him.
Okay, so whenever you hear something like that, that is self-talk.
Right.
Okay.
That's immediately when I said to her, that's exactly, I understand the pain clearly as I've projected it, apparently. I didn't say that to her.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about what got said between the two of you, so I'm just kind of working through it.
So watch what defensiveness comes up, because what I hear is a lot of conversation about it. First I heard that there was an "I'm sorry," and then there was no more conversation about it. But what I hear is that there's a lot of conversation about, going on about it, where there's these different communications. And here's the thing that I see is that people are afraid to just leave shit alone.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like you're going to get something out of going after a communication. And this is in all kinds of different ways of relating. It's like, for the most part, if someone's upset, let them have their space.
Yeah, let him, right.
And watch how that drive is to try to impose on their space and get the right reaction out of them.
Yeah.
This goes on a lot in relating, and it never works out well. It never works out like it can if you just like giving them their space, and really look again that there's no them. Who's getting the space? Who's getting the space of peace and quiet? Who is allowing that space of peace and quiet for themselves?
Right, because there was no peace and quiet if there was need to reach out and.
That's right.
Ooh.
There's no one there. There's no one there. What you're reaching for is another veil.
Right.
There's no one there to reach out to like that. If he gets the feeling that you are cold and stuff like that, that's good. That's for him. Who are you to try to change that for him?
Mm.
See?
Mm.
That's what it is. It's like we are projections for each other. So if you want to try to change how they're perceiving you,
yeah, that would be exactly that's what that text was, to make sure that he knew that I didn't do anything wrong. Ooh.
Right. See, that's defensiveness.
It is totally ego. I see it.
Yes. Good. I'm really glad you brought up that example, because that is a common thing, a way of expressing defensiveness and not even noticing that is the ego. But that's exactly what those kinds of scenarios are for. And it happens in all kinds of different relationships. I've seen it in friendships. I've seen it in business relationships, where you think the other person is upset with you and you go and you try to smooth it out. Leave people alone.
Okay.
Leave people alone. They don't need it. They don't need that. They need that perception for the moment. For that moment, it's not gonna last. The perceptions don't last. They're always passing. It doesn't matter. But for that moment, they need that perception because that perception is what they're giving to themselves. So if you think that you need to change it, you're not getting the gifts that are being given to you right now, and basically taking on this need to run and fix something instead of listen deeply, stop and listen deeply and watch and let these sensations come and go, come and go. Don't try to get something just like, okay, I felt it, now I'm going to write something.
Right.
Let the sensation that you need to go and write something, keep sitting. You know, you might want to just like sit down for an hour, you know. And when I say stuff like that, I'm talking to consciousness, because consciousness is making all of these kinds of stories up, everything that you seem to be doing and everything like that. But if you're willing, this whole thing can get slowed down. You won't be motivated through this habitual urge to prove yourself as innocent.
So would that be like a passive defensiveness?
What's that?
Would that be like a passive defensiveness?
Well, defensiveness is not helpful in any form.
No, I wasn't saying. I was just saying, like, again, I was trying to figure it out, you know.
Anytime I'm trying to fix something, that's ego.
Yes, and especially trying to fix a relationship or something like that, you know. Like if someone is pissed at me and giving me the cold shoulder, they're gonna get space. That's what they get.
You're gonna honor what they're
yes. Yeah. Whatever it is they're projecting that is necessary for them to project, I totally honor all of those explorations. So wow. It's not like I want to go after them and try to prove that they're wrong and get them to get a different impression of me. Thank you, my love. It's just accepting whatever it is. Oh, how fun. Now I'm having the perception that he's pissed off at me. And now I'm having I don't need to change my perception. You know, for both of us, for me and that dude, you know, it's something that we each asked for. So that's what you might call, and they might mean by interference. Like interference with the whole unfolding. Okay. I don't like how it's unfolding this way, that he's having a bad perception of me. I want to change his perception to something that is more like me. Something is more innocent, like me. You don't have to prove your innocence. It's already a given. And the people that you perceive in the illusion are supposed to speak to your lack of innocence, because it's not true. Because it's an untrue, it's an unreal, it's a fake dream. So you can it's a dream of falseness.
So if I sat with that feeling of him being pissed at me, because during the party it didn't bother me.
Well, because you were occupied.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So when I came,
you're occupied with something else. That's why.
A couple of hours later, I got home, and that's when it was quiet.
Yep. And then it's like, oh, I got to get busy and do something. And that's the place where you can recognize what's going on. And, you know, in recognizing what's going on, you'll find yourself sitting still, too. Because you won't feel the need to do that, like that knee-jerk kind of need to do that. Watch watch the feeling of it whenever you do. And whenever you do find yourself pursuing something like that, keep watching the feeling, keep getting the feeling effect, because the more you get the feeling effect, the faster it's going to go. Faster you're going to be able to see Like you could just have the thought of texting him and get the feeling of what that is. What is that for? What is motivating that? And then it may not even be necessary. Because you know that feeling. You don't need to go on that feeling.
Yeah, because I can feel that needing to fix. As soon as you said that, I was like, no, I see that. I see it.
Yeah, and it'll occur again and again as long as that is meaningful to you.
Yeah.
As long as someone having a bad idea about who you are is meaningful to you, then that's going to be something that you have to try to fix.
Right. Ooh, this is going to be okay. Here's another exciting. I'm ready for it to happen again because I want to.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, because each time you'll get to play with it more. You get to play with the scenario even more. You know, it's like it might be fun. It might be fun to just, who knows, text back. Like whatever comes up, or not text at all. Whatever it is that feels the most joyful. You could feel into it. That's why there's not a formula for it. That's why there's not a formula. But if you sit a little bit still, if you wait, there's a Zen saying, "Can you let the mud settle?"
Right.
When the water's muddy, when it gets mucked up, can you just let it settle?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Yeah, and like even in my own house, if someone seems to be begrudging me, then they just get some space. And if you're living in the same house and you're close together, say you're in a hotel room and there doesn't seem to be physical space, they just get some space, as in they don't have to hear me talking about it.
Right. You let it go.
Yeah. They don't have to mirror me. They could tell me I'm a complete freaking asshole, whatever, and it's just not a thing.
Right. Boy, the freedom in that.
Yeah, and I have one friend who had that play out for him, where he got this text about what a horrible person he is and how bad he is, and he just really felt like he needed to fix that, like get on the text and get back and explain himself and all this stuff. And he just goes, you know what? I'm just going to go for a swim. Just going to go to the beach and go for a swim. And he went for a swim, and he came back from the swim, and then by the time he got back from the swim, it was just really easeful. It was like, by that time, it's like it's worked out in the other person's consciousness, even. And the whole thing just looks like it's evolved to a certain point. But that's not from distracting yourself, like with a party or even with a swim or something like that. That doesn't come from distracting yourself. It comes from recognizing what it is. Recognizing that it is a pattern, that it is getting a triggered feeling out of you right now, and it's not happening.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and it's not happening. It's getting a triggered feeling out of you. That's the habit. That's the habit that's perpetuating a perception, but perceptions don't really happen. It's like a smoke screen. And it's all for fun.
Albeit a persistent smoke screen.
Yes, it's very persistent. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it like hide and go seek too, because you never know in which form it's going to come.
No shit.
Yeah, it's by surprise, and that's why I say it's like a game. It's like hide and go seek. All these different things come by surprise, and you know, you're not to make any meaning out of them. Remember that they're 100% meaningless. And then at the same time as being totally meaningless, they also have a great purpose for you. Okay? They have within them a gift for you. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Okay? Completely meaningless. So you don't have to try to make meaning of it. You don't have to try to make any meaning of it. Go to the source of it. Go to the source of it. Sense what it's like to feel it instead. And then that clears it up. That makes it so that there's happy, joyful relating. And the more you have the perception of someone not liking what you did, the better you get at seeing through that. To the point where you really can't even have that perception. You know, because you know where it comes from. Yeah, even if it might be taken that way by people or whatever, that person is pissed at you, you can't really have the perception that the person is pissed at you. So you know that's not really possible. See? To the untrained person who doesn't know what perceptions are for, it might look like the person is pissed at you, but you can't really have that perception if you know. See?
Okay.
Did you just say okay like that? Was it okay in that way? Like, all right, I think you're full of shit, but I'm gonna go with it.
I'm thinking, so I'm also projecting his wife who says that, you know, he's mad at me. He's gonna have to take some time to get over this. And
yeah, so take all the time he needs.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good. It's not like Lori is, you know, the thing is, you're not capable of screwing it up, and that is for real, for real, for real. The perception you have of screwing it up, okay, the perception you have of screwing it up is also your projection.
Right. Jeez. Yeah. Okay.
It's forgetting that whole thing. It's forgetting that whole idea that you can screw it up, and oh, now look what you did. Now this guy's mad at you. That's not the reason your bodies are separating, though. That's not the reason your bodies are apparently separating and space is being taken. Okay? That's just the way it evolved to take the space. It's just to show itself as the cause and the effect, as if that's the cause and the effect. This is showing, you know, it's like all the pieces get put together as if cause and effect is true, but it's not. Your purpose for that part in your journey is not to be together as bodies. That's all. However that plays out, that's just a part of the play.
Right. Okay.
So you didn't do that. You didn't make it so that you have to be separated from this friend of yours now. That you were going to be separated from this friend of yours no matter what, and at the same time, these other patterns needed to be played out.
And it doesn't mean anything.
They don't mean anything. That's right. And the more you see that they don't mean anything, you're not going to be having an issue with whatever appears on the surface. Yes. Phoebe says, you are the creator. Yes, you are the creator. And here's the thing about being a creator. You can only create like reality. Okay? You can only, in reality, like reality, meaning no thought. You cannot create with a thought that denies love. You can only make illusions like that. You can make illusions that deny love. You cannot create them, though, because your creations are not separate. They're kind of like not accepted. They're not really rejected either. They're just not even considered. Anything that denies love, it's not even considered, and it's just falling away. While everything that attests to love, that demonstrates, reflects love, is saved for you forever, for eternity.
That feels good.
Yep, it's all just passing, kind of like flying by. I love you, Phoebe.
Hi, Pete.
Kind of like I saw in that fainting episode, where it just looked like everything was flying by, like all these colors. Like I went somewhere really fast. Almost like it's a cartoon, you know, like just going somewhere really fast. And that's kind of like, you know, you could say that's like light flashing before your eyes. It's just like really fast like that. It's just mentally slowed down and made into this long, lengthy, kind of drawn out lifetime thing. But it's kind of like just like a flash like that. It just comes up. And, you know, a lot of the times it does feel like it's moving very fast, even though it's slowed down so much. So you can make some kind of sense of it. And when it feels like it's going fast like that, even if you feel rushed or anything like that, remember that you can relax within. You can always relax. You can always kind of, even if you're rushing around or you feel pressure or anything like that, you can always relax within that. Take a breath. You know, take a look at, you know, where is your breath? Just noticing where it is. Is it going all the way down to your belly? Is it stopping in your chest? Is it stopping in your lungs? Where is it? Like, how is the breathing? That's one thing that brings about relaxation really fast, and it kind of pivots your focus of attention off of the thought pattern.
Yes, totally.
Making you upset, and into the body. You know, that's the breath too. You know, it's kind of like there's a saying in yoga: get into your body and out of your mind.
Right.
And you don't necessarily have to have any kind of yoga practice to recognize what's going on, how your body's energy field is reacting to what you're perceiving. Watch that. Watch it. The reaction and the projection, they're the same thing. Awareness is key for everything. So being aware of, you know, what's really come up a lot this week to share with you is being aware of whenever you are called to identify, I need to do this more, I need to do this less, I need to talk to that person, I need to order that thing. Watch those thoughts. It's not going to make it so that you don't get these things done. Or maybe it will at first, but don't mind it. Don't mind it, because the body's senses are still working. It might be confusing to you at first. Like, whoa, I don't have to do anything. I have to do that. Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't have to do anything. Then you recognize, like, in a split second, there's a lot of words being said here, but in a split second, you recognize that thought has no meaning. And yet, things still appear to get done. Schedules, deadlines, whatever.
I need to take a shower.
Yes. Even I need to take a shower. Watch. I need to take a shower. It's as if that's not an involuntary happening. So basically, here's a way to say it. It's something that occurs to you. Your taking a shower is something that occurs to you.
Okay.
Like as a mental occurrence. So just the idea that I need to take a shower is kind of you could say it's a temptation to buy into that you actually need to do anything, and that's a feeling. It goes to a feeling. The feeling of I need to take a shower. What is that feeling? Watch. Watch when you recognize, oh yeah, that's right, I'm not capable of taking a shower. Watch how the feeling fluctuates. Watch what relief you get out of knowing that it only occurs to you. But what most people are afraid of is that they don't believe in themselves as a doer, then the things won't get done.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And I've had that same kind of fear and have gone, well, you know what? It got to the point where actually I don't even give a shit if it gets done at this point. And for a little bit I perceived things not getting done. I had the perception of things not getting done. But it's like I don't know how it would go for anyone. Like, it could be different for different people. But the thing is that it doesn't matter, because look at what the dream is for in the first place. Why would you try to get something else out of it? Like, get your shit done out of it.
That has.
I was like that. You know what? It came to the point where all that shit was meaningless. I just didn't mind. I was like, I'll just see what happens. Whatever. See how it goes. But for me, I have to make sure that I'm not believing in these illusions, or at least on the path to not believing in these illusions, at least willing to not believe in these illusions. And if I buy into the belief that I have to take a shower, then I'm buying into illusions. And for most people, that's happening all day long. They're just automatically buying into it. This self-talk that goes on all day is all about identification.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All about identification. So it seems kind of idle, like it's not, like it wouldn't really matter, like I don't know what's the word for it, but that you would go, I need to take a shower, and check that and be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm not capable of taking a shower. That totally just came from a diluted thought pattern right there. It seems for someone it might seem trivial, that thing, but every time you identify as someone who does something, you're setting yourself up for some suffering. That's why it's awesome to see. Setting yourself up for being confused and not knowing who you are. It's setting up for confusion.
Right.
See? Yeah. Do you see how the confusion kind of adds veils like that? It's like veil after veil about who I am and what I need to do.
Right.
See?
Or I need to fix something.
Yes. Yeah, or I need to fix this right now. I can't go to bed with this person mad at me. And, that's the thing. That's all for you.
Yeah. I see that really clear now. Wow. That hit me between the eyeballs when you I could see the mind did not want to accept that. It was not.
Yeah, I could tell. And then at the same time, you're super open, and you're non-defensive, at least with me. I could see like the defensiveness playing out, like when you're telling the story. But then when I point that out to you, you're non-defensive with me. Yeah. Like if someone was getting defensive with me about it and didn't want to hear about this, again, I would leave them alone.
Some space. Well, my friend Rob said the same thing about me. He said this most beautiful. He's like, he's never seen any. It was so beautiful. Well, I guess maybe it was me talking to me, but I was shocked when he sent this message about how open. He says he's never met anyone who is so wide open and hell bent on finding the truth. So, it's almost the same.
Yeah, you see how you always get both. You get someone who's saying that you're what an asshole you are, and then you get people who are praising you. You always get the both.
Yeah. See?
And that's why it said that either way it's the same. Either way it's the same. You know, you could use the positive one to identify as that person and to, you know, for the good feeling. And that'll set you up for the reverse. You know, the ego's world isn't going to be all bad. You wouldn't be able to accept that at all. It's not going to be all bad. There's going to be good and bad. Mixture. Nice and mean.
Well, because that's what.
Nice and mean.
Well, that ego is.
What?
It's what the ego is dual.
Yes.
So of course it's going to, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, on either end, it's like don't identify, because what happens is there's this rush to get attached to some kind of positive thing that people say about you as if that's now who you are.
Because it feels good.
That's also part of the play.
Right.
It's really also part of the play. And you know, as the play plays out, when all of these things are taken as equal, you're naturally drawn to the ones who can appreciate your gifts. You're naturally drawn to be with the ones who can appreciate your gifts. But when you're in duality with it, then you're drawn to more people who would reject your gifts, or you would have that kind of dance with. You know, that kind of energetic dance with, where you would say some things and they'd be like, oh, she totally spoke out of turn, or she shouldn't have said that. So it's like you want to have these dances with people. You're kind of saying that you want to have these kinds of dances with people when you make them meaningful and try to fix them. See? I saw that really clearly on Facebook. You know, at one point, sometime this year, I stopped taking comments on my wall that had to do with, you know, something about how fucked up my post is or something like that, some kind of argument or something. I stopped taking any kind of posts like that. And then at first I found myself deleting a lot, and it seemed like, wow, this is kind of a job. It's like I have to watch it. Oh, well, let's see how this goes. And then as it goes along, it's like, then quickly too, it gets to be less and less. So it's like barely ever, you know, like barely ever. It's like, where did they all go? I know I didn't delete everyone on the planet, you know. But it's like, you're not open for that kind of game. You're just not open for that kind of game. See, because you don't play in that kind of energy.
Right.
So even if someone says what a bad thing you did and how bad you were, you know, you don't have to dance with that energy, because it's kind of like a projection like that is kind of like an offering. Like, will you project back to me? I'm projecting this to you. Will you project back to me? No, I won't.
Well, that's what I've been doing over the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. It's when somebody comes up with something, I just leave it. I just don't answer. I'll go on to the next person who's, you know, liking it, or asks a question about it. But if somebody's something negative, I just don't even acknowledge that it's been said.
Right.
But I leave it there.
Perfect. That's fun too.
Yeah.
So, hi, Braun. Remember Braun? He used to come around a lot more often. Here he is.
I just said hi, Braun. I think maybe you guys didn't hear me.
Maybe not. I didn't hear it.
It's getting big. Is he 11?
He's 10.
10.
Yeah.
My granddaughter will be 10 in February.
Oh, how fun. It's a really fun age. They're so sweet.
Yes. Oh,
they know all these words, and they can tell you how you're getting it right and when you're getting it wrong. Right, Ron?
Yeah.
What? You'll say something and they'll be like, it's not like that, it's like this.
What? The eye rolling. Does he do any eye rolling?
Do you do eye rolling, Ron? What? Do you know how to do eye rolling? No. That's where you go like this. Like someone tells you something and you go.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think he knows that one.
No. Or Lolly, I don't want to hear anything else about non-duality.
Who's that?
My granddaughter.
Oh, how sweet. Yeah, that occurs. So, aloha, everyone. Does anyone else have questions for me?
Questions.
If you do, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'll start doing my closing out stuffs and see if anything else comes up.
If you have questions, click that button over there.
Yeah, you can put your hand up.
And
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
So fun. So wisdomdialogues.org is where you can see all of the videos. Yay. And Facebook /groups/Wisdom Dialogues is how you get invited to appear here live, well, with your voice anyway. And we have a lovely company of essential oils called Miracle Botanicals. Here's one bottle of Tulsi Holy Basil. This is some basil from India. It has the name Holy Basil. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but the botanical name is Ocimum sanctum, and I like the basil. It's a light basil, and it's also very pain relieving style, just like kind of like, you know, the feel of it, the scent. And I've heard from massage therapists that it's the best for massaging muscles, for making them buttery so you can get into them.
that looks wrong.
I like to put it in the diffuser. I like to diffuse it in the room. So, hooray, miraclebotanicals.com. We got that and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. We just made one called Twirly Twirly Gumdrops.
What? Where do you get these names?
I don't know. They just come in. So we made one called Twirly Twirly Gumdrops, and I had Braun sample it. He's like, wow, it really smells like gum. So that's fun because he's 10.
Because he's 10.
Yeah, but you got to check out the banner that my daughter Akea put up on our website. So go to miraclebotanicals.com. If you're watching at a later date, it's going to be a different banner. But for now, this banner is up, Twirly Twirly Gumdrops. It'll come up right away, miraclebotanicals.com if it's there. And it looks awesome, and we're super excited. It was just such a fun way that it came about. It was just such a fun, playful, oh, that just sounds good. Oh, yeah, and this and this. Let's go get the oils and blend them together. Okay, let's do it. It was me, my daughter Akea, and someone else who works with us. Her name is Yamuna. She was probably the most excited out of all of us. And I told her, if you want to blend right now, because it was on a Saturday and I was kicking back, like, if you want to blend right now, you have to get all the oils. So she didn't even know how to get the oils, but she got Akea, my daughter, to do it. And what turned out was really sweet. That's why it's called Swirly Twirly Gumdrops.
Yeah, I see it.
You see it? And look at Candy's here.
Oh, Candy! I'm gonna get. Where the hell did you go? I went to your. Oh, there. Oh my gosh, where'd you go?
Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, yeah. She's
So
still with us. Yeah.
That's
All right, everyone. I will be back again next Tuesday. Hooray!
Thank you,
Hooray.
Hope.
I'm so happy, and so happy to share with you week after week, and for you to come on and share with me and join with me. I love you.
Love you too.
Okay. Aloha and a hui ho.
Bye.